Hello and welcome to justindwyerartistry. Today we're doing a pastel seascape. As you can see, I've already started the drawing off. We've put in some blue to indicate the sky, a different shade of blue to indicate the water, and we've left some areas blank. So the areas that I've left blank will look like a blue-grey colour, and that's actually the colour of the pastel paper that I'm using today. So I'm working away with a very light blue pastel indicating the shapes of some clouds in the sky. The blues that I'm using today are ranging from an ultramarine blue, which you see at the top of the drawing, right down to a very deep Prussian blue, which you'll see down at the bottom, where the darkest areas of blue are highlighted in. I'm working with a very bright orange now. We've got some bright reflections of the sun, the last rays of the dying sun in the sky and the water. That's one of the beautiful things about these types of seascapes, is you get this amazing reflected quality. Some of the sunrises and sunsets in the sea are the most beautiful you'll ever see because, for one, usually there's a nice flat plane, you can see the sun right to the very edge, where if you live somewhere mountainous, often the sun will go behind the mountain and you can't see it right to the bottom. I mark in some of the bright reflections in the clouds with orange. The orange will complement the blue very nicely, as orange and blue are complementary colours. And that's going to be the main theme of my colour combination in this drawing. Some of the other colours that I'm going to use are going to include the green that I'm marking into the mountains. They're also going to include the browns in the rocks, which ultimately we will add some darks and some lights to bring up the highlights. This is quite a large drawing, and it will take me a long time to build up all the layers of pastel that I need to create a realistic representation of this scene. I'm going to speed the video up considerably, and we'll just make a few notes and comments along the way. The sun is setting low on the horizon, so I'm adding in some layers of colour to suggest the last beams of light reaching out across the land. I'm using yellow ochre and gold ochre to mark in the very last rays of light that are bouncing off the clouds and still streaming across the horizon. As usual, I'm going to work on the whole picture at once, so I turn my sights to the rocks at the bottom and begin filling in the heavy dark masses that are going to balance the bright colours through the middle and top of this drawing. Next, I turn my attention to the ripples in the water. There are many tiny reflections of darks and lights that are making a fantastic pattern across this painting. This is going to add a lot of interest to the finished drawing. I take a lot of time to build up many little marks and strokes with the pastel. Then I will get lighter pastels and overlay layer after layer after layer. This is a very tedious and time-consuming process, but it will be worth it in the end because of the high level of detail that will be in the finished painting. I'm using many variations of blue in this drawing. I can't name a lot of them because I don't have labels on a lot of my pastels. Generally speaking, I'm using blues at the top that are closer to red on the colour wheel, such as ultramarine blue. In the bottom, I'm using blues which are closer to green in the colour wheel, including cobalt and Prussian blues. The closer the blue gets to red, the more it will be a cool blue, which will help it to recede further into the background, which is what I want to happen with the sky. The closer that a blue gets to yellow or green, the more it will be a warm blue, and that will help bring it forward in the painting, which is what I want to happen with the ocean. I add purple into the clouds. This will add contrast to both value and colour. It will make the clouds stand out. Purple is a colour that is symbolic of great wealth, power and royalty, and that's the feeling that I want to promote in the image of this sky. I keep building up layers in the clouds in the sky. I need to be very careful here, otherwise I will go too far and I will have a crash. I keep adding the same colours into the sea where the reflections are shining on the water. Water is an amazing surface that reflects so many things in such a great way. It never reflects exactly, there's always a slight distortion. I keep adding in variations of light blue into the clouds. I'm not using any pure white, these are all various tints of blue. If I use any pure white in this drawing at all, it will simply be in the place where I want the strongest contrast, which will be the place I want to be the main focal point. That is the only place I will use any pure colour at all. Everything else will be shades and tints. The dangers of overworking your art are very real. In every single picture, you will have an opportunity to stop before you go too far, or to keep going and possibly end up a train wreck. Depending on the medium that you're working in, you may or may not be able to salvage it. Today I'm working in a medium that's quite forgiving, and because I'm not afraid of the eraser, I'm going to be able to save this one. I could have cut all that from the video and pretended it didn't happen, but I wanted to show you that art is a journey, it's a process, it's not a destination, and how you get there doesn't really matter as long as you're learning something. Everyone will make mistakes. We'll often make the same mistake again and again before we finally learn to stop making it, and that's okay, because we are learning all the time. Today is a new day, and it's a day that you get to make a decision. The decision you get to make is today I'm going to make a better piece of artwork than I made yesterday. Sometimes it won't work out for you, but that's okay, because today is always another day, and today is a day I can still make that decision again. So don't be disheartened when you make a mistake, because it's just an opportunity to get better. So if you've had a disappointment, don't stay downhearted. Get back on the horse that threw you and get cracking. I begin rebuilding the sky by layering the blue back in around the spaces between the clouds. The clouds got out of control before. I ended up with too many clouds and too many different things going on. Now I need to simplify. I continue building up the ocean. all of the little surfaces on the ripples of the water where the light reflects and bounces around, or the broken lines of colour and tone. Sometimes when working on a piece of art you feel inspired. Other times you don't feel like working on it at all. What do you think? Is it important that you feel inspired? Inspiration can be defined as the process of being mentally stimulated to do or feel something, especially to do something creative. Being inspired is fun, fuels you to achieve, and it takes the drudgery out of the process. When you are inspired, you feel like you can do more and to a higher standard than you otherwise could. Work ethic, however, is very different at first glance. It's getting out of bed in the morning, pulling on your boots and trudging back to the coalface to hew out another ton or two. It isn't fun and you feel like you could do so much better if only you were inspired. But is that really true? Feelings are one thing, but results are what counts. While inspiration brings a feeling of achievement quickly and easily, what do the results look like the next day? Was it really better, or did it just feel that way at the time? Be objective and analyse the results carefully. You will probably find that there are just as many mistakes in the work you created when you were feeling inspired. The truth of the matter is that your technical skill does not mysteriously increase when certain types of feelings occur. Regular practice of technique is what will provide the best results when it comes to creating good work. If you only do something when inspired, you may do it so infrequently that you actually get worse at it and not better. Getting out of bed each morning and making time to do at least something before you go to bed that night will make you better at that thing. Successful athletes train for many hours per week. They don't sit on the couch waiting for inspiration. They generate inspiration by taking action and getting the work done. They train day in and day out to make continuous small improvements that add up to mastery of their sport after a period of years. Art is just the same as sport. You need to put in a lot of time and effort over a long period of time to really master your craft. You won't get very far if you wait until you feel like it before you put in the time. Of course, these are just my thoughts, and I'd love to hear what you think, so please leave me a comment below and tell me all about it. And that's it, the drawing is done. Thank you so much for watching, have a wonderful day, and bye bye.